Hey y'all, welcome back to Still Chosen, the Bold Believer podcast, where we have real conversations about faith, life, healing, growth, and becoming who God has called us to be. I'm your host, Terra, and today we're continuing the conversation we started in our last episode. So last week, we talked about silence. Y'all, I've been silent on y'all for a minute. We talked about how sometimes God uses a season of silence to prepare us for a season of growth. And today I want to talk to you about that growth and to talk about how we can make sure we don't waste the season we're in. So let's get into it. Y'all, summer is one of those seasons where people either grow tremendously or they drift. There really isn't much in between. Some people see summer as a break. Others see it as an opportunity. So this year, I'm choosing to see it as an opportunity. Not because everything is perfect. Not because I have everything figured out, because I don't. But because God has been calling me to move. One thing God has been showing me is that faith requires action. James 2:17 says, faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. For a long time, I prayed about certain things. I prayed about business ideas. I prayed about opportunities. I prayed about direction. Y'all, and one day I realized God had already told me to move. I was waiting for another confirmation when He had already given me the instructions. Obedience is better than sacrifice, y'all. So this summer, I'm planting a foundation, not perfection, a foundation. I'm planting consistency. I'm planting obedience. I'm planting faith-filled action. I'm planting seeds in areas where God has already said, go. Now, one thing that I have learned that spiritually growth doesn't happen accidentally. It happens intentionally. You don't accidentally develop a prayer life. You don't accidentally grow in faith. You don't accidentally become spiritually mature. You choose it and you continue to choose it. Psalm 1 says, tree planted by streams of water that yields fruit in season. That tree didn't become fruitful overnight. It stayed planted. This summer, I am challenging myself and all of us to stay planted. Spend time with God. Pray before you scroll. Pray before you panic. Pray before you make major decisions. Create routines that work for your season, not somebody else's, because everybody is not in the same season. We talk about your season. So I would like to tell y'all, for me this summer, I'm focused on building habits of surrender, not control, y'all. Surrenderance. I am also teaching my children what it looks like to trust God. I'm teaching them biblical principles. I'm teaching them that God isn't just someone we talk about on Sunday. We talk about Him every day. We talk to Him every day. He is someone we walk with every day. I'm also going to be studying names of the Bible, such as Jehovah Jireh, the God will provide; Jehovah Rapha, the God who heals; El Roi, the God who sees me; Emmanuel, God with us. And y'all started declaring these names over my life. Thank you, Tiffany Montgomery. And also over my children, over my finances, over my future. Because sometimes we need to remind ourselves who God is before we start worrying about what we're facing. So before fall gets here, I'm praying for protection. I'm praying for discernment. Oh, baby, I am praying for community. I'm praying for peace. And I'm also praying that God surrounds my family with people who genuinely love Him and love us. I'm praying for clarity as my children spend more time with me, because they're about to be in school with me. I'm praying for wisdom, y'all, because Ephesians 6:12 reminds us that We wrestle not against flesh and blood. Sometimes what we're facing isn't just practical. Sometimes there's a spiritual battle attached to it. That's why prayer has to remain our first response and not our last resort. So, Galatians 6:9 says, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Some of you have been planting seeds for years. Keep planting. Some of you have been praying for years. Keep praying. Some of you have been believing God for years. Keep believing. Because sometimes God uses a season of silence to prepare us for a season of growth. And growth requires us to stay planted long enough to see the harvest. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Still Chosen Podcast. If this episode encouraged you, challenged you, or reminded you to stay planted this season, share it with someone who may need it. Also, send me your testimonies, any questions you have, anything you want to share with me at stillchosenpodcast@gmail.com. And remember, you are not alone. You are not forgotten. You're still becoming, and you are still chosen. Bye for now.